right, everyone, welcome to the syllabus and textbook discussion with part of the textbook here. So hopefully you're viewing this video, understanding a little bit more of what is involved in the class. So real quick here, this is Math 64. This is elementary and intermediate algebra. It's C03. It's the spring 2020 semester, and the course is online, so hopefully in the right class. All right, let's jump down to the textbook here. So let me go like this. All right, so the textbook, let's talk about it here. Here's a textbook. It's called The Essentials of Elementary and Intermediate Algebra, a combined course. All right, so this is the textbook for the class here. It's called Essentials of Elementary and Intermediate Algebra. It's a combined approach, and it's the second edition. Has a little race car in front of it here. So the question always comes up, and I kind of made another PowerPoint just to explain this here. So question comes up even before the start of class. I had several emails. Do I need a physical textbook in my hand? All right, so let's talk about this here. So physical textbook. So the XYZ homework account, which you're going to sign up for, which you're going to do all your homework, turn everything in, that has already an ebook on it. So you can access the ebook. It's already there. So here it is. So if you already have an XYZ homework account, and then you also do not want a physical textbook in your hand, so you are all set. There's nothing else to do. You're going to just get the course ID number from me in order to get into the course, and you're all set to go. All right. If you do want a physical textbook, my recommendation is to get a used one, because all the new ones already come with the access code. So you're in a sense paying for the textbook and the access code. All right. If you don't have an XYZ homework account, then there's two different options. And if you don't want a physical textbook, then I suggest get the XYZ homework account access. You sign up for the website, and you are good to go. And then the ebook is there as well. If you do want a physical textbook in your hand, and some people are like that, I am generally like that. I do want to have a physical textbook in hand. I can flip pages over. So my suggestion, get a new textbook, because with the new textbook, you're going to get the access code inside the front cover of the textbook, and you get a little discount because of that. So you're buying a new textbook, and then you got the access code inside it as well. So hopefully that helps to explain the textbook situation. If there's any other still questions on it, please feel free to give me an email, and I'll explain it as well. All right, so let's continue with the syllabus here. So my name is Arkady Hangiev. Mr. Hangiev is just fine. Office hours, I will hold 2 1.5-hour virtual office hours. And what I want to do is I want to send out a survey first to see what, maybe like at the end of the first week, just to see what helps, what's the best time for most students, and we'll set up that. It's going to be it's called a Confer Zoom setup. All right. My cell phone number is given, and my office number, in case you need to get a hold of me, any of those. Use my cell phone just for emergencies. If I don't pick up, please leave a message. Otherwise, use the office number. It goes straight to my email as well. So if you need to email me, there it is. Okay, let's talk about the course here. So Math 64, the way you've got into this course is either through Math 101, Math 100, or your counselor placed you in Math 64, or you placed yourself into Math 64. That's kind of the different ways you can do it here. All right. So the only advisory that we have is hopefully you've seen algebra topics before, just a little bit here, just so we can go through it. The course does go pretty quickly here. All right. It covers both elementary and intermediate, so almost like covering Algebra 1 and Algebra 2 in a single semester. So we go pretty quick. You are almost at about a section a day that you have to cover through this course, considering it's only 12 weeks. The course objectives, those things we'll cover in the course. I'm not going to read them off, because then you don't know it yet until we go over it. But the Student Learning Outcome Exam, that's something for you guys to know. We will take a test at the end of the semester covering these topics. By then you should know them. You should know how to graph a line, factor a trinomial, and solve a rational equation, and solve a radical equation. So those are two things. I'll get you guys a study guide before we get to that point. All right, let's move on. Institutional Student Outcomes. Those are, if you kind of think of any class that you've ever taken at West Hills College, Kalinga, it fell somehow under one of these 7 topics here. So the first one is communication competency, written and oral. Those are kind of thinking about English classes, right? Can you write, communicate by written language? Can you write by oral means? Analytical inquiry, that's critical thinking, problem solving. In this class, we deal with quantitative reasoning. So can you deal with the math topics? Can you deal with the science topics? We primarily deal with the math topics. All right. So the most important thing right here is attendance. So when you start the class initially, you do need to email me the first day of class stating that you want to stay, and then you have to sign up for the xyzhomework.com site by Wednesday. Now you need a course code from me, and I will share that with you right in the beginning of class. Alright, so those two things need to be done, and I'll check at the end of the first full week, and if you don't have those two things done, I will have to drop you. So be very careful. Email me the first day, get things done by Wednesday, so then I'm checking Wednesday, I'm checking Thursday, and if you still don't do it, I'm going to drop you by Friday. Alright, through the course, if you do not complete the midterm, that's the kind of like the big one here. If you don't do that one, it's grounds to drop you. Doesn't mean I will, just means that I can. Alright, so if you do want to drop the class, make sure you drop the class. Alright, so let's go on. How do you know what the class is all about, or how do you get the content? So the lectures I've posted on YouTube. They are all there. They're sequentially, which means it goes right topic by topic on the playlist. And it seems like if you don't click it on the playlist, then they're not in order. So make sure you get to the playlist first. So let's go for it. How do you get there? So go to YouTube, and then in the search column, put in Math-4B. Right here, Math-4B. You're going to click that, put that in. That's a channel. And click on it. It always changes. It's either like a gray circle or a gray square with an M inside there. Once you get there, then you want to click onto the M64 lectures, which is Math-64 lectures. Once you click on that, click on the playlist, and they will be in order. All right. Ooh, let me correct that little misspelling here. All right. I would suggest, so you don't have to search for it all the time, just put a bookmark so you can find them real quick here. You got them from the rest of the time, because you will go through it a lot. These are essentially my lecture from my face-to-face classes that I did. I think it was like during a summertime. And so it's me. You'll hear students ask questions of me on the board. I explain them, and so it's a little bit more of an interactive sort of piece. All right. The other thing that you'll see so this one, you're going to go to the Canvas site. The stuff in parentheses tells you where to go to actually do it. So there are discussion boards. There'll be discussion boards throughout. There are a few discussion boards throughout the semester. I'm thinking about 5 or so. You'll get 20 points apiece for them, totaling 100 points, but the end of the semester is done. You get 10 points to present your information, and then 5 points each to respond to 2 people, so you'll get 20 points there. They would typically open like a Monday evening, and I will leave them up for a week, so they'll close like a Monday evening, maybe earlier than they post. So it kind of gives you a week to sort of address those things as people put them in. All right, those are going to be found on the Canvas site, and I'll point them. I'll send you an email once the first one is up. I usually start them during the second week. I don't do them the first week because you guys are just still sort of getting started with the class. All right, Student Learning Outcome Exam. We talked about it a little earlier. This is going to be on the Canvas site. It's on the Canvas site. It is worth 100 points, and it's a review of the main concepts you should know in the class. It's written by the math department, and we pretty much take a look at the results of it, and we see how we can change the class, craft the class better. All right, the rest of the stuff is going to be found on something called the xyzhomework.com site. This is the publisher's site that goes directly with the textbook. You will do your online homework there. Now, the online homework only gives you the due date per chapter. So what I want to show you real quick here is kind of the due date for each of the class or each of the pieces here. Alright, so I put in, and it's going to be in the files menu as well, but I put in a little calendar. It's a per day calendar for the course. Hope this will help you here. So the start of the course is on the 24th, and today, according to this recommendation, you probably should do 1.1. So 1.2, and notice it really is a section a day of work. We have 12 weeks to cover a whole course of material. So on March 2020, here it is. Now on the XYZ homework account, it's just going to tell you chapter 1 is due on the 5th. So it has everything done right here. but this is more of a just to keep you pacing, so make sure you are still doing the work. Some of you guys may be working all week, so then a lot of the work you do on the weekends, that's fine, but at least this kind of gives you a guideline where you should be. Alright, chapter 2 should start about in the end of the first week of March, and you just keep on going. A few things I should tell you is in the middle of chapter 3, we skip 3, 5, 3, 6. Those are little topics that I haven't developed the videos yet for, and they're a little bit off to the side sort of topics here. So the 20th, don't forget, skip 3, 5, 3, 6. You won't find it on the homework listed in the XYZ homework site either. All right. On the 27th, I should say this is a teacher work day. There are no classes, so I can't have work that's due on that day. So that's kind of gone. So that brings us through the month of March. And then we keep on going. In April, you have a midterm that's due. So the midterm is due April 1st. Kind of funny, it lands on April Fool's Day. But the midterm is actually open. It's going to be open from the 30th. It's going to be open 31st, and it's due on Wednesday. So it kind of gives you 3 days. It's going to open in Monday. It's going to have to be done by Wednesday evening. And then we just keep on going. Then chapter 5 starts, but then we have spring break, so nothing due the first full week of April. I would suggest, if you guys have any extra time, I would suggest just catching up. Try to maybe complete chapter 5, because after this midterm, everything is open for you guys to complete. You complete it as soon as you can. So if you want to get ahead or a week ahead, that's perfect. Notice I had to scrunch a few days here. So end of chapter 5, I just made it due here. Notice there's 2 sections that are due this Friday. So I have to squeeze in all these sort of sections that need to be done so you guys have the content to move on. So chapter 6 only has 4 sections inside it. That's a pretty quick one. And we're almost at the end of April. So we start chapter 7 and almost done with it. At the end of April, we go to so there it is, 7/7. So May 4th, we're done with chapter 7. And then chapter 8, and notice over here, just not enough days, but hopefully by now you actually are ahead of the curve right here. So notice chapter 8 starts, but then the week before finals, I start doubling up on things here. So chapter 8 finishes up on the 11th, and then there's 6 sections for chapter 9, but only 3 days to do them. So again, hopefully you are ahead of the schedule here. You gotta want to be always ahead of the schedule here, especially towards the end. On the 15th, the SLO exam opens up for the day, and once you're finished with it, that is 100 points. And then I did have to set a specific day for the final, so I set it for the 21st. That kind of is giving you, hopefully you're done with some other finals that you have in there. It has to be kind of set up in a single day, so it opens up here, and it should finish up on the 21st before midnight. And then I just kind of put this in here. Grades should be posted on your transcripts by the 27th, so it gives me 6 days to make sure I grade everything properly and everything is all set. Alright, so hopefully that kind of gave you that. On the lecture for the xyzhomework.com intro, we'll go into the calendar and everything else on that as well. Alright, midterm is going to handle, like I said right there, it is set for, it starts on the 30th of March, gives you 3 days, ends on the 1st of April. Our next final exam, set on a single day. We already talked about it here. It's set on the 21st of May. Log in sometime during that day, complete it, and you're done. Alright, contacting me, just so you know here, just some general guidelines here. If you have a general question about the course you're not getting answers for, just email me. That's the best way to do it. I'll try to respond within about 2 days or so. If you need synchronous help, you want to ask a question and then you want to get an answer, let's enter into office hours, attend the office hours. I will answer your questions right then and there. If you're stuck on homework questions, there is a post this question to the forum out there. So what happens, this posts to all the other students in the class, and if there's some willing souls that say, oh yeah, I know this, I've done this, I did it yesterday, sure, and they can help you through the problem. Alright, online office hours, we've talked about it a few times already here. I will send an email link about virtual office hours the second week and the first week or so. I will send a calendar, kind of like what do you prefer during the week, and what most students pick, that's the one I usually go with. And we go from there. It's going to be about 3 hours a week of interaction with me, so take the time to get to office hours. It's going to be helpful. Any questions you have about the course, all that stuff. All right, as far as the drop date is concerned, there it is. It's April 25th. If you are not passing by that day, if you think just something is too much for you for the semester, make sure you drop by the 25th. After that, whoever's enrolled has to receive a letter grade after that. All right. And don't think that I'm going to drop you just because you stopped doing your work in like mid-April. If you want to drop the class, please do so. All right, so here's the grading system here. Online homework, eventually it adds up to 100 points. Midterm exam, 100 points. Discussion posts, grand total 100 points. The SLO exam is going to be 100 points, and the final is worth 100 points. So everything else, 500 points, all put together. And the only caveat I have is right here, is that on the midterm and the final, you have to score at least a 70 in order to pass the class. You should be able to sort of harness all that information, put it down on one single piece, and take the midterm exam in it. Conduct just means if you cheat, do any other things that are contrary to school regulations or even disturbing to members of the class, I can remove you. I can give you an F in the class. The flip side of it is we offer a whole bunch of support services. If you think that you may qualify for any one of these, a career center, care, extended opportunities. So if you need help with textbooks, that's there. If you think about transferring, we have a transfer center. Oh, and the thing I mentioned here is tutoring, and the library tutoring. This is something students do, especially the online classes, because they're taking other classes at West Hills College, Colingo, or Lemoore, or NDC. If you need tutoring, find a tutoring schedule. Most students that tutor math in there are going to be able to tutor you through Math-64. That's pretty easy because they're usually the higher classes already. All right, and the one special note, DSPS, Disabled Student Program and Services. If you think that you have a learning disability, there's a specific setup for that we have. You can call this number here. This is off of the catalog right here. This is catalog. So go for it. If you think that you need any extra help because of your learning disability, please do reach out to that. All right. So West Hills College is committed to providing access to education for students with disabilities. If you do have a disability or medical condition that requires an accommodation, please see me within the first 2 weeks of class so arrangements can be made. I don't want you to come in at week 6 saying, hey, I have a learning disability, I need to actually be doing this. It's going to be really too late by then. All right. Final disclosure is that I do have the ability to change any part of the syllabus if need be. In my 15 years of working here, I've never changed the syllabus to accommodate an extreme emergency. Extreme emergency would be pretty bad for us to sort of accommodate something. All right, but there's a caveat there. I hope you learned a lot this semester. I hope this syllabus was informative. Lets you decide if you want to stay in the class or not, and kind of gives you the overall perspective which way we're going to go with this class and where the grading is coming from. If you have any other questions, please feel free to email me.